So how the day went was, obviously woke up, thankfully. Got myself sorted about 4 o'clock because it's an hour 20 drive up to Bamborough from where I am. Had all the coffee, had a massive nightmare with the printer. That was... The router on and off, absolutely done wonders. Got to Bamborough about... I think it was about half 6, 6:45. Went and picked up my bib number. Again, all the staff were really... It was a really well organised event. It was really good. For my first sort of ultra event, it was good crack. So yeah, we got changed in the van, got changed in my runners and stuff like that, and then went to get the coach, which picked us up at 7:30. I was absolutely gutted because Northumberland Coffee, their little Discovery van, their Land Rovers was there, and they're absolutely amazing. And I did not want to brave having one, which is quite annoying. So I went and got on the coach, which was again an excellent service. And got speaking of that lad that was on about. We had a good natter down, down to the start line and stuff like that. He'd done the event a couple of times and stuff, so it was good to get a bit of an insight on what was expecting. Got to the start line. It was a bit of a chilly wait. Everyone just stood around a little bit. I think it was about 15-20 minutes or something. Cracked my first precision fuel and hydration gel. That was a mouthful this morning. I had caffeine one, had that 15 minutes before, finished off my electrolytes and stuff like that, and then we got going. And from the go, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the Strava, and I was at the front with a few people, and I was just like, well, yeah, I'm just going to hold this pace for a bit, which I was holding about a 450 kilometer pace, and I was in, I think my heart rate for me, it was sat in about 150, 155 or something like that. So that's obviously for me, that's zone 3 or whatever for Garmin. But I was holding this pace, and I was just like, well, I feel quite comfortable. It feels good. Shoes were feeling fine at this point, and it was all good. The course wasn't hilly or anything, so it was just the terrain was just so undulating, which was fine at the start. First 10k was absolutely fine again. So you ran out from Alnwick, you ran towards the coast and got to Allenmouth, and then you cut up towards Bamborough, so heading north along the coastline, which was absolutely stunning. It was so nice, and the weather was playing ball as well. It was a nice day. I started with my jacket on, and I took that off immediately, which was really a wise choice, because it was it was quite warm considering the weather we have been having. So 15k, I was feeling good at this point, still holding a decent pace for me. And it was, again, the elevation, it was just quite flat running along the coast up here. So it was good until it wasn't good. So
just come up to 20k there. Going a little bit faster than I did anticipate. So we'll see how long I can hold on to this for, but at the minute so far so good. Absolutely stunning course. The sun's out, t-shirts on, unreal, absolutely unreal.
So my glutes, the top of my hamstrings just started to niggle a little bit, started to feel really tight. Couldn't keep my gate open, which was very annoying. So it started to slow things down, and this is where the pain of the feet started to kick in, and it was not a pleasant pain. So once I got past the 22k mark, my pace started slowing down to about 5:30 kilometers, and then it dropped dramatically, and the terrain was starting to do my head in, and I was getting into a bit of a dark place at this point. So it was getting rough. Let's be honest with myself here. And I was starting to think, what have I done? Why am I doing this? I wasn't enjoying it. So coming up to 30 kilometers, I was running about a 6-minute kilometer pace, and again, it was I passed my family, I think, just before it was about 35k or something like that, it was so nice to see them. Like I said before, it was so good, and I think it's just helped morale boost. And so every 10k there was a checkpoint, so you had to get your bib number scanned, and they had like food and water and stuff like that, and I was sticking. So one thing that was going really well was sticking to my nutrition, which was working. I didn't feel any sort of tiredness in that area. So, but it was just my legs and my feet were just giving up on us a bit, which was a bit annoying. So, but that's a lesson to be learned if I ever do one again. So yeah, every 10k, which was nice because it was just like it was roughly 10k. So it was just hitting that checkpoint, having a bit of a reset, stop, have a bit of a breather, fill water bottles up. So what I was aiming for the first 30k, I was drinking about 500 ml of water, and I probably should have been drinking a little bit more and it was just getting slower and slower. And honestly, the terrain just kept changing and changing, and it was just like this. I just could not keep a consistent pace. Just coming up to Bamborough, it was hard. There was one, I think it was the 40 kilometer station. I stopped again, speaking to the family. Dom, my brother-in-law, he was filling up my water bottles, and at that point I got onto the beach again, and I was like, right, I'm gonna have to put my headphones in. So I put my headphones in and got some Bullet for My Valentine going, just some angry music, just something to get us out of that hole a bit. And I managed to pick up the pace a little bit, and that's something that was hard as well. I felt like my brain just got really lazy, and my footing just became, I had to try to be a lot more cautious with my footing, because the concentration levels were just like going down a little bit. So coming past the marathon, which is absolutely mad to say, this is the furthest I've ever ran. So it was, at this point, it was no man's land. It was a very grey area, and this is where the terrain again just like got really, really hard. And coming up to the 50k checkpoint, sort of roughly about that, it was coming off the coast into sand dunes, so it was like your footing was all over. It was just a bit chaotic, and I was on my own. So the marathon, you go into Bamborough and then you go across the finish line, obviously, but you peel off to the right, and this obviously that was the saying of like, don't take sweets off strangers, and that this lad was behind us and I had my headphones in. I was like, oh, do you want to get past? He was just like, you sound like you're in a bit of pain, mate. Do you want some painkillers? And I was just like, yes, please give us them. So I necked 2 painkillers off him. I probably wouldn't recommend doing that in normal circumstances, but I think they did help once they kicked in. I think they did help for a bit, but the last 10k, oh my God, it was an absolute slog. It was awful. It was fucking awful. It was just put one foot in front of the other, please just get myself to the end of the line. And it was so painstakingly slow, and all of it, the majority of it, sorry, I know I'm not looking at the camera here, but the majority of it was running on the road, and it was a nice change, but I just knew in my head I could run faster, but my legs just weren't letting us. It was just try to push try to increase the cadence in a shuffle as much as you can, and it did work. But then I was hitting downhills on the road, and it was just like my feet were just digging and digging and digging, and it was just like, this is just getting horrible. It was a couple of moments where I was just like, I just need to wind my neck in and just crack on, get it done. This coffee's unreal, by the way, absolutely gorgeous. So and then I came up to you had to cross the road at one point, and I came up to the guy, and he was just like, there's only 10 people in front of you. And I was like, oh, fucking hell, this is Southend. So that was a bit of a morale boost. But so the ultra, you had to do a lap, and you had to go back on the beach. And to like take my mind off having to run up the beach again, and it was just like proper random thoughts and stuff. It was. I tried to pick up the pace and just try and smile my way through it a little bit. And there was this, see where you cut back in, there was this these sand dunes, and you had to run, and honestly, it was just like, it must only been about 20 meters, but I basically had to go on my hands and knees getting up it. I was just like, please let us stop. And and I picked it up for the last K, and it was just come across the finish line. Loads of people were there cheering and stuff, which was really good crack. And then the family were there. It's just to come across the line, and my brain was just it was just a load of mush basically at this point. The stewards and stuff were just like, oh, well done. I was just like, yeah, thanks. It was a good day. And would I put myself through that torture again? I guess we'll have to see how the feet mend up. But I've got the next event in the books already, which is in May, and might do something in between sort of thing. So I will get back to everyone on that. My first ultra complete. Unreal.